Hey, this is AP Lit, and I introduced the sonnet assignment in class, and I only got half of it recorded, so I was just going to summarize the other part in this brief video. The assignment looks like this. If you're back in class tomorrow, you can get a copy, or I'll put it on the topic section of my Caldwell. I just want to go through this list. When you get it, you'll see that the assignment has 9 steps to it, and I'll just briefly read through those. The first step, that a sonnet must be 14 lines. We'll talk about topics later. They're usually serious. The second one is iambic pentameter. That is the rhyme. That is the meter of the poem, and that means every line must have 10 syllables in it, not 10 words, but 10 syllables, with the pattern of unaccented followed by accented. One of my favorite lines from Henry V is when the narrator in, I think it's part 4, is describing Harry before the Battle of Agincourt going to his men disguised as a regular soldier. And the narrator, or the chorus who is narrating at this point, uses the line, "A little touch of Harry in the night." And if you analyze that, every other says 10 syllables, and I'll use my fingers, "A little touch of Harry in the night." That's your 10. And you notice every other syllable, and I'll exaggerate it, is accented. "A little touch of Harry in the night." That is iambic pentameter, and some people have trouble understanding it. When you look at the other video, you'll notice that the challenge of a sonnet, there are many, but 2 of the challenges are that you have to have 10 syllables per line, and in that order, unaccented followed by accented, going horizontally. And then vertically, you have to have a rhyme scheme that's A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. So you're thinking vertically and horizontally at the same time. Plus these other aspects that you're going to see as we go through this. The third part of the evaluation sheet is rhyme scheme. And we're going to use the rhyme scheme of an Elizabethan sonnet, which is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. The fourth point on the sheet is that it has to have unified imagery. On the back, we read a poem by a student. It doesn't have a title, but it basically takes 3 images and unifies them. The 3 images of Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and the Easter Bunny. And these are different images, and you're required to create 3 images that show and express your point, whatever it is. In this case, the point is in the heroic couplet is at the very end. And the heroic couplet reads, "Now I can see how my childhood was spent in dreaming and disillusionment." So what ties those 3 different images together is they are beliefs that children have that are not real or not factual. And when you discover that, sometimes a child goes through disillusionment. So very clever poem, but that's how this works. The next poem is about, the 3 images are plant life, animal life, which is in this case a butterfly, and then human life. And what do those 3 things have in common in this poem? Each of those requires certain things to be alive. The plant life needs water and light. The butterfly needs a cocoon and a long sleep to develop. And human life needs food and air. And then he tied, those are the 3: plant, butterfly, and human being. Those are the 3 different images, but they're tied together or unified by the idea that as these 3 things need something to survive, I, the speaker of the poem, needs you. In that case, he's writing to his best friend, and needs you to stay alive. They're very clever. And then the final poem, the 3 images are, there's one long image that's divided into this process, divided into 3 parts. And I keep pointing to a section that is 4 lines. So when you write your poem, each of the images is the subject of one of the quatrains. So you have 3 quatrains, 3 sections of 4 lines each, and each quatrain contains one of the images. And in this case, this final poem, the first image is of a man and a dog, and the man presumably is throwing the ball to the dog. In the second stanza, the dog retrieves the ball, and in the third stanza, the dog brings the ball back to the man, and there's barking and there's a collar, and they're going on to something else. But what ties it together is this clever statement that in our relationship, there's never a clog. In fact, he treats me almost like a dog. So it's like if you've ever gone walking your dog and you've wondered who's taking whom for a walk. The dog seems to be taking me for a walk, or am I taking the dog for a walk? That's what we mean in the first part is unified imagery. You have to have three images that are unified by one idea. The sound device is number 5. Oh, no, the heroic couplet is number 5. And heroic couplet is the last two lines which rhyme, which makes it a rhymed couplet. And these lines comment on the previous three sections, the three images that were used. You do all those, you'll get a B. If you want an A, you have to add these elements. There's just three of them. One is a surprising opening, something that gets the reader's attention at the beginning. 5 or number 8 would be, number 8 and number 4 go together. There have to be three images. Number 4 said these images have to be unified. And then the last one, number 9, is verbal cleverness. This would be a pun, a paradox, a persona. In the last case, you have that last poem, you have a heroic couplet that's ironic. And so irony would fit this cleverness, because who is taking the dog is taking the man, or the man's taking the dog for a walk. And then I mentioned on the other side, and you got this in the other video, is that if you'll follow these directions, they're exactly 14 lines. There are 10 syllables in each line. And don't forget that these sonnets create a problem or articulate a problem and then solve the problem. They ask a question, solve the question. They raise an issue and they address the issue. That's how you should approach your poem. That part of the poem, the first part, is the question, the problem, the issue. And then at the end of the poem, preferably the last two lines, is the solution or answer or response. And so this is a worksheet. You can use each block. You have to have 10 syllables per line. And that's why each block is not 10 words, but 10 syllables. In that line, a little touch of Harry in the night. That's that pattern. If you can come up with 14 lines of those, you will have accomplished something, I think, really important. That's what I'd like to add to the other videos. So if you weren't here today, we'll be working on this in our brief class tomorrow. It's about 25 minutes, and then return to it on Friday. On Thursday, we'll be dealing with Huck Finn, the first 10 chapters. Hope this is helpful.